I should try to actually do a length check when my hair is not curly, but but I actually kind of like it like this. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. Today on April 1st, 2019 is my 3rd year lock anniversary. So today, 3 years ago, I braided my hair all by myself, and this is what we working with now 3 years later. So I just wanted to come on here and update you guys on some changes that I did. I've combined some locks and just some quick tips that I've learned through this 3 years. All right, so the first update is that my front row, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have combined basically like the first 2 rows and like this whole perimeter area on this side, and yeah, this whole thing. The reason why I did that was because sometimes when I wear my hair down, like the very front row was very short, and so it would just kind of stick out, whereas the second row was like basically a mature lock, and it was like it would fall perfectly well. So I kind of got tired of having those little pieces just like sticking out, so I just like twisted it with the older ones. Let me see if I can show you guys. It doesn't look that different because they were so small that once it twisted, like look at this one, you can't even see, like it looks like it was its own lock like from the very beginning. But yeah, like you can see this one is twisted, this one's also twisted. So I basically took this, it was like this, so I took this one and I took this one and I put it together, and I just kind of went like that throughout. So you can see this one's also like been merged. Let me see, yeah, here you see another one here has been merged. So this was 2 right here. Ooh. This was 2 right here, so I took this and I took this and I put it together. Same here. So this whole area right here, you can see I've merged all of them. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working with. And ooh, let me fix my hair real quick. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I when I reattached the locks in the back row, the back 2 rows, the row that was right on top of that row then looked kind of smaller. So I actually also combined the row right on top of the row of what I reattached to. So let me just show you before I keep talking. So these were, I hope you can see it with the curly hair now, but oh, this is okay, so this is an example. So these were the ones that I reattached right from the undercut. And then so basically this row right on top of it, this whole row, you can see that this actually has like 2 to 1 lock now. And so I did that for all of them. So you can see there's 2 here to 1 lock, and it kind of just goes like that the whole way. And that's just basically, I only did that for the row right on top of the ones that I reattached. And that was just because, I don't know if you guys saw, but the one I reattached was, I parted it a little thicker than the locks that were already there. And it wasn't that they were thinning or anything, and actually like that's why I didn't decide to try and twist the ones that I combined, because they're so thick on their own that they're not gonna stay twisted together, whereas the ones in the front were a little thinner, so if I did twist it, it was able to stay and actually like stay together. But the ones immediately on top of the one I reattached were just like, there were 2 individual locks, and no matter how much I twisted, when I washed it, it just came undone. So I did this in the beginning of February, so it's been like basically 2 months, almost 2 months now that I've done it. And yeah, everything is good. The ones I reattached, they're still hanging. One came out, the very first one actually that I did came out, and so I just basically crocheted it back in. And yeah, I'm not gonna crochet the ones that I combined, because the crochet only works on locks that are not fully formed or at the ends of locks, right? Or if you're reattaching like your short hair to the lock. But it doesn't work on 2 mature locks, because you can't get in and out of 2 mature locks. And I don't want to create like tears inside the lock, you know, that might end up leading to thinning or something later. So I'm fine with having 2 sprouts coming out of 1 lock. Like that doesn't bother me at all. So I'm just gonna keep that going. So yeah, that's the update. Some things that I'm glad that I've been doing over the 3 years is, first, I'm very happy that I've been keeping a very consistent interlocking schedule. So like I said, I interlock basically every 3 to 4 months, but for the front row, and typically the first 2 rows, or mostly just the front row, I interlocked it every 2 months. But now I don't think I will have to, and I used to do that because those very front row that used to be very short, after about 2 months, when the new growth came out, the new growth was so thick that it would kind of not let the hair lay down itself. So because of that, it would be sticking out. I hope that makes sense. But now that it's been combined with a lock that's thicker, I don't think that will be a problem, because I only had that problem with just the front row. So that's one thing I'm very happy I did, and it's good to keep a consistent retwisting or interlocking, whatever maintenance you're doing, schedule, so that you don't have locks marrying each other. And the thing is, if you go, you know, for 6 months, you're not pumping them after you're washing them, or you just let them grow like that and you're not trying to freeform, they can get stuck with each other and marry each other, and then you're gonna actually end up having to rip like apart your locks, and obviously that's not good, especially because you're ripping apart the roots, right? Because they're gonna marry each other at the root. So make sure you keep like a consistent schedule. You don't have to do it too often or too late, but just have a consistent schedule that your hair can get used to know that, okay, every 2 months, every 3 months, every 4 months, or whatever, I'm gonna maintain this root so that they don't get stuck with each other and I don't end up with problems later. And then the other thing that I'm glad I've done is just fully bleaching the hair and taking my time to actually bleach it. So like I said before, I don't think I'm going to be using box dyes anymore for the blonde. I think as the roots grow out, I'm just going to bleach the roots and just redo that and call it a day. I won't be bleaching the whole hair anymore because there's no need. The color is already out, so I think if I did want to try any color, it would just be a toner, and that can last for however long it wants to last, and it can wash out and I'm still good. So that's it. I'm done with box dyes, I think. But I think I really am done with box dyes, and I'm just gonna stick to bleaching the roots as it grows out. And that also I do kind of every 3 months or 2.5, or for the most part it's at least spaced out for 2 months, but I think I'm probably gonna end up with like a 3-month spacer, and just doing my roots. And the other thing I'm also happy that I've done is, you know, is keeping my wash once a week routine and oiling my scalp and putting my leave-in conditioner on my strands. So I know some people can go a month, 2 months, 2 weeks, however it is, without washing their locks, and it totally works for them because they either retwist like once a month or something like that. So when they wash it, they retwist it, put it in a style, and they're good to go for that month. But for me, there's no way. There's just, girl, listen. After a week, literally after 6.5 days, okay, that by that 7th day, it's time. There is no, oh, it's time to enter the shower and wash the hair out, okay? My scalp is just not, it's not built like that, and it's not built like that. So I'm happy that I've kept my, you know, once a week washing regimen. That works really well for me, and it also gives me time to be able to, like, you know, try something new, even though I don't really do a lot of new things in my hair because it just takes too much time, and you know, you be getting headaches and stuff. Like these bento knots, girl, let me tell you, okay, it's not easy sleeping in these things, and like they're cute, and I really like the curls because they're very full and they look very like round, as opposed to like a braid curl, which is a little bit more crimply. But this is, it's just like, this is a lot, okay? Like, this is a lot. And also I have one thing about like lock thinning. So for one, okay, so let's go back. When I first tried the crochet needle, like way back before I even combined the back, before I reattached the back rows, so I tried it on one lock that I combined in the middle somewhere here, but it was a mature lock. And what I ended up noticing was, so one was shorter than the other, and I tried to comb out the shortest end and then use that to crochet into the more longer and mature lock. And what I ended up discovering is, like, a couple of weeks later, like maybe 2 or 3, that spot that I crocheted the lock in to combine them, ended up thinning out, so I had to end up cutting off that whole end of the longer lock. And that's why I'm also advising that, you know, it's two things. If you do have lock thinning for whatever reason, just cut it and just move on. You know, you can either cut it and then, like, you know, comb out each end and then crochet it back if you want to keep it, or just cut it and just let it be. Like, there's no point having a nice lock and then just having like a bald spot basically, and then having like it just hanging by a thread, because that's what it's gonna end up looking like. So just cut it off and just move on, you know. Or if you want to keep it, cut it off and sew it back to the other lock, or crochet it back to the other lock. But don't just leave the lock just hanging there, because it might just fall off somewhere and then you're gonna have a piece of your lock just in the middle of nowhere, and well, that's it. It's gone. And that's also what I'm cautioning against when you want to combine locks that are fully mature, like you've had your locks for 3 years, 2 years, you're not in the baby months phase anymore. It might be better to either just two-strand twist it and leave it, or braid it and leave it if you're combining 3, or just sew it and leave it, as opposed to trying to crochet through the lock. And that's for people, let's say like you two-strand twist it, right, and you want to crochet through. You're not going to be able to, at least for me, I wasn't able to, because, and I don't think it's wise, like I said, because it might lead to thinning, because the lock is super mature and you can't really go in and out of the lock easily like you would with loose hair. So like when I was reattaching this one, the hair on my scalp was loose and the hair I'd combed out to reattach, so that was also loose, so it was easy to go in and out and make the crochet work for the reattachment. But once the lock is formed, you can't go in like a lock that's locked, right? And I feel like what ends up happening is you create holes and you're creating tears, and that will lead to lock thinning. So just be careful if you want to use the crochet needle to combine locks at like the lock stage, not at the root or at the end. At the root and the end is cool because you can just comb that out and reattach, but in the actual lock itself, I don't think so. I think that's it. So I mean, this journey has been really good so far. Like, I mean, you guys have seen my routine. It's very simple. I just wash with a shampoo. I've incorporated the purple shampoo into my locks, and that's cool. I feel like it makes my locks a little gray. I use it once a week, like as I wash my hair, and I mean, I've used it. You can't really see that much ashiness except for like in the center, I feel like. But that's cool. I might do like a video on that later on. But yeah, I mean, I still use my castor oil and my tea tree oil. So I use now a mixture of castor oil, castor and tea tree oil. I use jojoba on my face, but I use a mixture of castor oil and tea tree oil. I just put that on my scalp. I just love the smell of tea tree oil. I don't think I need it for anything specific to my scalp, but it also helps to thin out the castor oil a little bit, because castor oil is pretty thick. But yeah, so I just add my castor oil and add a little bit of tea tree, well, a lot of tea tree, so that it like thins it out a little bit, so it's a little bit more liquid. And then I just use that on my scalp after I wash it. And of course I have my spray bottle with water that I spray on, and then I do have my moisturizer that I use. And so that's it. I'm excited to continue this. You know, I feel like by the time you get to like year 5, that's when the length really comes in and you're like, okay, I'm ready for this. But right now, you know, we just hanging in there, okay? But it's cool. All right guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.